Why can't I just talk? I don't know, Ethan. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Action. Back for another video update. Double video update today. Day 53 and 54. January 13th and 14th of 2012. So Dad was going to do some painting on his car, so I took the opportunity to get my A-pillar moldings painted. So before paint you got to do a little prep. So I threw them in our sandblaster cabinet, gave them a quick little blast. That's kind of through the plexiglass. And then what the sandblaster does is it cleans all the paint off down to the bare metal, which is a lot nicer than having to hand sand all that. But it kind of turns the metal kind of a gray color. And those are the ones that I got with the roof stuff, the roof parts from American Auto Wrecking during the summer. And then right before paint, I had to do a little more prep. So I took some fine sandpaper and then a Scotch-Brite pad and kind of feathered out the whole thing. And there's still few areas I missed on the corners because it's kind of a long piece. And then Dad used his sprayer, then kind of gave it a 2-coat finish. And they're in my room right now drying, but they look pretty good. And hopefully in the next few months when we get the car put back together, hopefully you'll see them. And then on day 53, that Friday night, to do the work on the rear work, like the front, we thought taking down the headliner would be a good idea, like the front. So I started to do that around the corner. And on the passenger side, it was pretty good. But on the driver's side, it wasn't. How the headliner is held up on the underskin, I guess you call it. Just kind of a hoop that's sewn into it, which kind of a round shank goes into that, and then it holds it up there. And on the driver's side, it kind of rotted away, so we didn't. And if we pulled it down, it would have kind of probably helped it to break even more. And we didn't want to have a droopy headliner because that's not very good. And we didn't want to have to replace the whole thing because we're trying to save it, save some bucks and keep it all original. And then back to work on that rear piece. Since last update, I cut the excess off because we didn't need that. And then the second line here is our scribe line from where it meets, I guess from where this is overlapped on the car. And then from that line, I made a 1/2 inch measurement, and then made these little dots, and then kind of connect the dots because this isn't it looks like a flat panel, but it's actually kind of curved. So I had to do that, connect the dots, and then I gave that a cut. And you can see I did the cut here, and it's even less metal. And then I took that cool vice grip my dad's buddy had from work, and it kind of gives it that little step. And the step will go kind of underneath the original piece and kind of give it strength, but also so we can keep it the new and the old flush and kind of flat. And then we'll give it kind of a weld in that channel. And there's kind of like I guess that's like an 1/8 of an inch gap, or something like that. So that'll be good. So I'll give you a little live update. So here's I guess since since those pictures, I cleaned all the paint off, and it's kind of hard to see that little lip, or the step down, but it's still there. And here's the original height, and then it kind of bends down. And then that actually, see that slips, see if I can pan it, that slips underneath. And then there'll be the gap there. And it's kind of high because we kind of didn't warp it, but it kind of, brought it up. So that'll be kind of flush with that. And then we put the, we'll give it a quick paint, and then the vinyl will cover that. So that'll be, it'll, look original and good. And then before we can weld this in, I remember I ground all these down, so that's pretty good. I need to grind a little more here. But actually in the corners, right here, it's kind of rusty, and on the other side it's even worse. What I'm going to do is cut out a new rectangle piece for this, and then kind of give it a bend and then weld it underneath here. And then this will weld on there, and that'll have a nice new area to weld on instead of all rusty nasty thin stuff. I'll set you down and get that vice grip. And this is kind of a cool deal here. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know. But he welded two little plates with little steps in them. So then when you, it's still hard to see. When you crimp it together, it gives it that little step. And that's what we wanted. And I had to do that along the whole thing. That was lots of fun. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So that's kind of the next step on the rear panel. I'm kind of slow on that. I need to do a little more work on that. So that'll fit in there, and then we have those, the new roof pieces I think we'll splice, do some kind of overlap, but weld some kind of combination piece together for the new piece, because that's obviously gone. And then on Saturday, there was still a bunch of little pieces and parts that were on the inside of the car, as well as the roof, and I've been meaning to kind of put them away, and because I didn't want to mess them up or grind on them or something. So I put them in a third box. So now we're parts free. And I made sure there's nothing combustible in the trunk. And I hope jumper cables aren't combustible. And actually, on another day, I popped out the big, I guess it's seam sealer you could call it, from the front and the front and the rear pieces on this side. And I didn't want to, I guess I can get that one, but I didn't want to get that one over there too soon because it still has that sound deadener stuff. And then along with the 3 in the trunk, we'll have to put new seam sealer in that, as well as the kick panel, the vents, because if you remember, that was pretty heavy duty stuff, so the water and weather wouldn't get in. And today, the 17th, this isn't really, see if I can hold it straight, this isn't too big of a deal, but on the exhaust, the bracket that kind of holds the pipe, it used to be, it's kind of like a U, and it used to be like this bolted on there, and here's the bolt. So I didn't really, since day one, I didn't really like that. So since I had it jacked up this evening, I wanted to I turned that around, see if I can do that, and then rebolted it like that. So now you can't see it. So when that body piece is, that rear body piece is put back on, you won't be able to see it. So we got our small original pipe. And then, actually, since I kind of wanted to jack it up, but also to look at that, because I found a little rust hole in the floor below the rear seat. But I've also just been kind of wanting to look at it, because we haven't looked at it since the first day, and we didn't really look at it too good. But I'll give you a little quick show of the car, how it's still pretty nice for how the age. And we're nice and safe under our American-made jack stands. So basically, here's the rear end, obviously, and then the drive line, and then here's that hole in the, because obviously this is the floor and then the seat is above that, but there's kind of this little hole, and he kind of punched holes in the floor, and I think that just kind of got bigger, because I don't know what he's thinking, but it's just, I guess it was collecting water and he didn't want it to rust up more, but it kind of did anyway, and all that funny stuff. And we're actually pretty fortunate, because I've seen some guys on their cars, they've had to replace their whole floor sections and quarters and this and that, and I think that's kind of a pretty big deal, and this is kind of minimal to that. And then when I was down here, I just was looking around at the mechanics of it all, and it has 4 coils instead of leaves, and I think that's kind of an interesting deal, because I'm used to seeing leaf spring cars. And then it has the original shock on the passenger side, and then here's the only new, it's not really new anymore, piece underneath the car. Everything else is all stock original. And it's nice, the gas tank is all straight, because Dad said that he's seen a bunch of cars that they're all banged up. And then while I'm under here, if I can get around the jack stand, it's kind of hard to see, but there's the brakes, it's kind of the T there, and all that stuff we'll get to replace. And I already got some flex lines for Christmas, but we're debating on steel lines. We think the master cylinder will have to get replaced, but the steel lines wouldn't be a bad idea. They're just kind of expensive, because there's I think there's 4 parts, 3 or 4 parts. So that's about it. I'm gonna have to the rear lights, there's some kind of ground issue or something with the bulbs, I don't know. I guess we excuse me, we put new bulbs in there and it's kind of confused. So that's kind of a issue to figure out the lights to work. Because the second owner's husband, he put this weirdo ground wire attached to the rear cross member there, and I think it's kind of hackish. So I don't want to use that anymore. And then when I have the lenses off again, I've already given that far one a good polish, and you can really see in person. I don't know if you can kind of see now, but I want to give them all a good polish, just because I can. And it'll give it a nice contrast to the polished stainless and chrome with the taillights against the original paint, which will be kind of a fun look. So yeah. And for now we won't have to spend too much more money, but after the roof is figured out, we'll get into the brakes and all that, and vinyl tops and windshields and all that other fun stuff, and door felts. So yeah, it's kind of a money pit, but it's kind of a investment in process. So hopefully we can rejuvenate that if I decide not to drive it. But I do decide to drive it, hopefully when we get it done, just because it's too cool to sell, because you can all sell it. But yeah, we'll see you guys